I just gotta start. I gotta start getting some more Apex on the go soon, though. Keep trying to get my buddy in, and he's always busy with like D&D and stuff, which I understand is important. I also miss playing D&D. Are you a Dungeons and Dragons person, Katana? Next level 3000. Darkness or health? Oh, you don't know what you're missing, man.
Hey,
Dungeons and Dragons
fake.
is so much fun.
I thought I heard you say you were gonna wipe the floor with me.
No, that's what I said to him.
Don't forget, I'm still new. I'll get stronger.
I'm still
stronger.
new. How are you
The
me
next
if
time
you're
we
new?
fight, you're finished. Then let's
Ouch.
fight now.
That seems a little. That seems a little harsh. Like, I feel like there's some people
It's
that take the game
nice
too
having
seriously.
darkness on my side.
Like, if you're trying to
You
actually
are
get like
so
a good
missing
game
out.
of Dungeons and Dragons
How
going,
could you
like
be
I've
scared
DM'd a
of
bunch of
something
times,
that
I've
can
played a
be
bunch
so
of times,
thrilling?
especially as DM.
Enough.
You want to try not to kill your players off, like
So
right
now
away.
the coward is playing tough.
Like that's just bad
So
form
long,
right
real
there.
thing. Hope you don't miss
Like,
me.
In my experience, both playing and DMing, like
Come
DMs
back!
fudge rolls all the time so that they don't kill players. I can understand if you're like a lot further on down the line, and like it's something that's like
No
crazy.
I'm not a coward.
Trying to think of the word. Not important per se, but like, you know, it's a serious moment. That's when potentially, like, if something happens, you don't fudge the rolls so that their character survives. Like, I played a game for a couple months with a bunch of my buddies, and
So, how was
what
the
would
real
happen
thing?
is if
He's
your character
spineless.
was about to
In no time
die,
at all, I'll be better than
he would
him.
he would pull you
In
out
the
into
meantime,
the other room.
would you be interested
And he would
in
talk to
meeting
you whether you were
another
okay
who's
with it, because
considered
like
a hero?
he'd do the roll and like figure out
You
if
mean
you were
Sora.
going to die. Like if he was hitting the
I
killing
hear
blow
he's
on
somewhere
you,
in the castle.
he would give you one of two options.
want
You
me
could
to
either
take
let your
care of
character
him?
die,
We'll
or
see.
something
Yes.
miraculous would happen. They
I
would
intend to
survive,
make good use
but
of you.
they'd end up with something that would
No
happen to them
worries.
that would make it
The
harder
real
on them.
Riku
Like,
is
you know, they
nothing.
could lose a hand,
Sora won't
you know,
be
big
either.
scar that like
They're
permanently
no match
disables
for
some
me.
of their health. Something along those lines, but he would only
Come
give
out!
you the one
Show yourself,
chance
fake!
to save your character.
Oh, no.
Once you used
That's
it,
not exactly the right
the
word.
second time it happened, it was kaput regardless. Or you could retire that character. But the thing he also did is after
you
said
saying?
character
Isn't
died,
he just a copy
or
of
you
me?
retired them, then you
More
made
like
another
a
one
model.
and he brought that character in at the
He's an
same level that
example
your
of what you
last
should
character
try
left
to
at.
be.
So you could like
He
get the
accepts
chance
the
to play
darkness.
different roles. So like if you were a fighter first, you
Just
could be
like
a wizard
you
next
once
time, or
couldn't
a
help but
rogue, or a
accept me.
barbarian. But like
But
you
now
couldn't.
you are afraid.
He made it so that
Perhaps
you couldn't
you
just
are the
make
one
the
who
same
is being
character either.
fake.
You couldn't just be like, okay, well
Fake
I was a
when you
fighter,
pretend to have
you know,
no
elf
fear.
last time,
When
so it would
have
be
I been
fighter
afraid of
elf
the
this
dark?
time. It would be, you know,
Inside
make
of the
something
card
different, like
worlds,
do a unique character so
you
that it like
grapple
does something to the
desperately
story,
with the
so you're not
darkness.
just constantly doing the same thing, and it made it really
Desperation
really fun.
is fear. You fight the darkness
Because
because
then,
it is
you know,
what
all the other
frightens you.
party would either, you know, they'd mourn their friend dying, or like the fact that their friend retired. Then, you know, they could visit him later
Stubborn
on.
boy.
But then they'd also have to get to know
Then
this
continue
character.
your
They wouldn't
fight
really
if you
trust him
must.
right off the bat. You'd have to prove yourself to them,
Eventually,
like
you
considering
will
you're coming in
learn.
as a new person.
You cannot
And I think at
resist
least
the darkness.
everybody in that game died minimum once for their character or retired them. And I think there was some people that actually had 3 characters. So it made it like a really, really interesting way to do things. Because that way you're not just like, you know, killing off characters. You're giving them a chance to, you know, do the right thing. Because like I had one where the action that I did, like my character was dead regardless. We were falling from like this gigantic pit into this giant ridiculous monster thing. And I was like, well, I got to do something. So like I was like, we're gonna get down there, and it's gonna be a tough time. So I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I get through this? So I was like, I'm gonna do what I can to do as much damage to this boss monster as I can. While also giving, like, you know, I knew I was gonna take massive damage, so I might have I think I was the only one that was falling full force, because, like, the wizard had a spell that could make him feather fall. I think one of them had it so that they didn't really take fall damage or took half fall damage, but, like, I was literally the only person that was gonna take the full brunt of everything. So I looked at the wizard and I was like, you got that catapult spell, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, but I can only launch things, like, up to 5 pounds. So, like, you could use it to, like, launch rocks and stuff to do, like, a little bit of damage. But I was like, dude, we're in free fall right now. I was like, I technically weigh nothing. I was like, put your hand on my back and fucking launch me full force at this thing. I was like, I'm gonna do, like, full damage from, like, the brunt, like, all of my weight and armor hitting this guy. Plus, I'm gonna, like, attack it at the same time as I hit it. And he was like, what? And, like, the DM just looked at me like I was fucking 2 shades of nuts. And I was like, man, I'm probably, like, out of it as is. Anyways, so I was like, I might as well do whatever I can to, you know, do as much fucking damage to this thing as I can for my party. So, like, I ended up almost, like, one-shotting it with one attack, because, like, I was, like, my character for race-wise was just this big shark person. So I weighed, like, a good 250, 300 pounds anyways. And then, on top of that, I also had full plate armor on. So, like, I was a good, like, 500 pounds, falling as fast as, like, you know, things could possibly fall. Like, fucking terminal velocity. So, like, it was ridiculous. Like, I think I did, like, 300 damage or something like that. It was something ridiculous, like, even, like, D&D standards of damage. And, like, he just sat there and he's like, I can't believe you just did that. He's like, that was absolutely insane. But I was like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So he gave me the chance, because I think I did, like, because I took almost all of the damage that I inflicted. So he was like, I'm gonna give you that one shot. And he's like, you can either, you know, let him die. He's like, or he can survive. But, you know, like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and, like, you know, he's gonna have, like, some debilitating something here. And I was like, nah, man. I was like, what I did right there was, like, 100%, like, sacrifice. I know I'm not coming back. And he's like, okay. He's like, I understand. So I did that. I retired the character. He went back to the castle that we had at the time to be, like, the party's blacksmith. And then after that, I wrote up another character to get added in a little bit later on. But, like, it's kind of the thing that, like, I really, really enjoyed that he did. It's the same thing with critical attacks that we have. Like, a lot of people do it, like, you know, critical damage, you roll the hitting and stuff like that, and then you roll to see how much damage you do, and then it's usually just two times whatever damage. And, like, he also invented this table that I love to use, and it's this, it works for critical fails too, so, like, when you hit, like, the 1, you roll 1, and what we do is we have these tables, a critical hit and a critical fail table, and if you end up hitting a critical, or, like, failing terribly, then what you do is you roll the percentile dice, which is the one that goes in increments of 10. And then after the, as well as the 10-sided die. so that you get a percentage. You know, 1 to 100. And on the table that we have, like that he has done up, whatever you roll on that table is like your consequence or your, like, you know, saving grace. So, you know, it could just be like a regular critical hit, like, you know, 2 times whatever damage you roll. But then there's also max damage, so you hit like the 2 times with the max, so you don't even have to roll it. It just goes, you got, you know, max on your roll. Like, that's what it is. So you end up doing like max for double damage. But there's triple damage, quadruple damage, severing the enemy's limbs. There's severing their limbs, plus the enemy then has to roll on the critical fail table. There's I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I'm pretty sure I have it like next to me somewhere. But there's severing limbs. There's critically wounding them, doing like a cut so deep that they start like bleeding out every round. There's instant kills. Then there's one of my favorites, which is just before the instant kill, which I know most people would probably rather the instant kill. But there's it's 4 times damage, sever limb, and opponent bleeds out 120 damage every round. It's just like, it's like ridiculous. So you get like 4 times max damage, so you don't even have to roll for the damage. Holy fuck. Your Majesty! And not only that, but then you also get, like, sever one of their limbs, so like you can cut off like a leg, you can cut off an arm, and then after that you still, like, they still take an extra up to 20 damage every single round. Oh. So like then, after their round is up, they end up having to roll the d20 for the enemy, and it's just like, well, there's another potentially 20 damage. I am so in pain. But then the critical fail table isn't as harsh against, like, the person who fails, because, like, obviously you're not, like, the potential of you severing your own limb is pretty bad, but, like, you can end up dropping your, you can drop your weapon, you can end up, you can end up, like, stumbling and throwing your weapon into, like, a teammate. You can end up, so you can end up accidentally, like, swinging wide and attacking your teammates. Like, there's just so much that can be done. So it just, like, adds that little, like, spice to it. So where am I right now? So I go left, I go right, I go forward. I'm going to... give myself a little bit of a rest. I need at least a 2. Fuck. Give myself a place where I can come back to deal. My cat is being weird. He's like passed out and like chewing. So I need a 2, instantly have a 2 here. Yeah, there's just so many things that, like, people don't understand that they can add. Because, like, D&D is, like, a very open rules kind of game. It's whoever is running it that gets to decide, like, what happens and how things go. So it sucks when you get, like, those, like, rules lawyers in your games, or, like, the DMs that are very, like, by the book. And don't get me wrong, sometimes those can be really, really fun. But there's also a lot of times where they can, like, be a detriment to your players. like, I'm very much for trying to like let your players do whatever the fuck they want, within reason. Like, I had like a bunch of rules that I used to go with, and then like there's just the last couple games it's made it really hard to play, mainly because of how strong it makes them. So it's hard to base a campaign around their characters when, you know, they just beat everything. So I took out those ones just because, like, it kind of took the fun out of it. But then, like, you know, I keep those fail and crit tables. I usually let them pick races out of the monster manual, or if there's like classes that they find that are homebrewed that aren't like too overpowered, I'll let them use those. Just because, like, you know, it's a fantasy game. Like, let them have the fantasy of it. Like, you know, there's a lot of people who will like, look at certain races and be like, no, sorry, you can't play them. It's like, there's no stats for it, or like, it's very hard to make into a character. It's like, well, like, do a workaround. Like, I wanted to play, like, the shark person I was telling you about. I wanted to play a shark person. And my DM was like, well, there's not really, like, shark people in D&D. And I was like, well, what if we do this? And then I found the race for Triton, which are basically just, you know, Atlanteans. Like, DC Atlanteans, where they're, like, you know, humanoids that can, like, breathe underwater. But they're slightly kind of scaly in D&D. So I was like, well, why don't I just make a Triton? And I just make it that he looks like a shark. I was like, you know, keep all the same stats, so it's like, you know, easy peasy. Fuck. I hate when it does that. I'm trying to, like, heal myself. But, like, you know, make it so that it's just as easy to, like, you know, make the character, because Triton was, my nose is always so itchy when I stream, I can't fucking stand it. But it's like, you know, I'm not doing anything that's, like, unorthodox. Like, I'm taking something straight out of the monster manual. Or not the monster manual, but, like, the book. But I can, you know, tweak it to fit how I want to play the game. So I got, like, all the same abilities. It's just I looked like a shark instead. Like, I was just like the old Street Sharks toys. I was just a giant shark man. So it made, like, everything, like, really interesting for everybody, because they're like, what? Shark person? But, like, that's one of the things, like, the easy workarounds. Just like when people always want to play, like, some kind of dragon or half-dragon, so they made Dragon Balls. Like, it's no different than, you know, trying to do something like that. Or if they manage to get lucky and find, like, a homebrew that's not, like, ridiculously overpowered.
Like it. Take this.
Because that tends to happen quite a bit too. It's like people will like make these homebrew like races and classes, but like they're so strong it's not even really like fair to anything. Like there's I'm trying to think like when I looked in the monster manual one time, you can do like half dragons and vampires and stuff. Because technically, vampirism or werewolf or lycanthropy is a status effect. It's like a disease in Dungeons and Dragons. So, regardless of what race you are, you can still contract lycanthropy or vampirism. And obviously, they have their pluses and their downsides. But then on the same thing, like stuff like half dragons and whatnot, like from the. At least for, I think it was 3.5, they have this ridiculous thing where they give you, my shirt's choking me to death. They give you all these stat boosts for being a half-dragon. Because, well, you're a fucking dragon. And, dang it. but then you also get all the stat boosts of your base race.
Like it.
And then, like, say you decided to pick, I think there's a vampire race where it's like upper scale vampires.
Yeah. Like it.
So they get to pick, like, vampires get to pick a base race, so you could literally do a half dragon,
Like it.
half, like, say, half dragon, half elf, vampire hybrid thing, and, like, you get all the stat boosts for all of it. Like, obviously you get all of the negatives too, but, like, when you look at the stat boosts for most of it, the stat boosts just outweigh everything. But, like, it's 100% like a legitimate thing because it's in there.
Take this.
So it's not like, you know, you're breaking the rules or something. It's just it's one of those things that, like, a lot of DMs have problems with too, min-maxing. And you can do that without, you know, actually going, like, and doing something that is extreme as, you know, the thing that I just described. But, like, it's one of those things where it makes the game really, like, unfun for some people, because, like, you can get a lot of characters where one person, like, not everybody in the group wants to do that. So all of the characters are, you know, average level, average skills, stuff like that, but then you get this one character where nothing is a challenge. 1 second, my cat is attacking the door, so... Well, like, that's what I mean. Like, that's where, like, DM's discretion comes in, and, like, trying to make it so that everyone can enjoy everything. 3, 5, 6, 3. No 4? No 4? Do I have, like, no 4s at all? Oh, I got a 4 for that one. Well, like, that's where DMs and players have to, like, kind of agree on some things. Because I can completely understand not wanting people to min-max now, because I used to... The rule that I had that I took out used to be for when you're initially making your characters. It's like, you know, a lot of people are like, well, what happens if I... Like, because normally you roll 4d6 and subtract the lowest one. But it's like, well, what if you roll 4 of the, like, the same thing? So, like, what if I get, like, 4 6s? And it's like, well, technically you're supposed to drop the lowest one, so it doesn't really matter because they're all 6. But normally, like, I'd sit there, it's like, well, if you roll 3 of a kind, you can add this. If you roll 4 of a kind, add 1 more of whatever the number was. And stuff like that, just to, like, make it interesting, give them, like, little stat boosts just in case they roll, like, you know, 4 2s or something like that, so they can get, like, an extra little bit. But then, like, it got to the point where, like, all my players were, like, rolling, like, ridiculous numbers. So it made it, like, really hard to actually get anything on the go, because they were all just, like, ridiculously overpowered. Unfortunately, I had to tone it down, which, you know, sucks in some senses, but, like, not really, I guess.
Your Majesty.
But then, like, you know, I got them to re-roll everything. I let them, you know, tweak anything if they needed to, just because they were used to playing the character for, you know, a little bit, but not enough so that they were, like, I guess, stuck on it. What is that? That doesn't even look like it's But, I think... But it's the same thing as, you don't have to make it so that combat is, like, the only important thing in your game, too. Because usually some people will get it so that it's, you know, combat's the only way to get experience, which it's not. there's like a lot of DMs that I've dealt with where combat is, you know, obviously you get experience from combat, but, you know, problem solving, role playing, so you actually have to sit there and, you know, talk and like, I go here, I go here, I go here, you know. So you actually have to like sit there and, you know, interact with people and like talk to NPCs and talk to, you know, I guess bosses if you're trying to get out of certain situations.
Your Majesty!
Yes, that's right, cure me. So like you could sit there and gain like a bunch of experience just by, you know, playing as opposed to like getting in combat, because sometimes combat can be tough, like especially like the different boss fights and stuff. Like I've had boss fights where, you know, none of us have won, and like we've had stuff stolen from us, gotten our asses kicked, and then we went and actually just talked to whatever this big monster thing was and got out of it by fucking talking to them. And it's just like, yeah, like, we really didn't have to do much of anything. Like, they're not actually bad guys, they're just there doing stuff. So, like, we ended up, like, one of our players came in and just talked to whoever was there, got all of our stuff back, and it's just like, all we had to do was sit there and, you know, talk to this person, and everything would have been fine. And it's just like, what? What do you mean? Like, that's... just because, like, I'm used to a lot of D&D campaigns where that's what happens, is it's very, very combat-oriented. It's very, like, just combat. But, like, that's what, like, gets me sometimes, is, like, I hear about stuff like, you know, where you said, like, literally, like, first combat, the DM just went and killed you. And it's just like, what? Why? Like, you're just making it so that your player doesn't want to come back. Because, like, if I got there and, like, my DM's first instinct was, you want to know what? Let's fucking kill them. I'd be like, excuse me? 20 blue? What the hell? There we go. Let's see what the fuck this bot... Oh, it's probably just Cerberus. Lurk from the pixie gun! Re-lurkin'? Oh, never mind, it's Hades. Fuck you, Hades.
Like it! Take this!
Feel the heat.
Like it!
Take that! Take that! Take that! Take that!
Your Majesty! Come on!
Stun him! Stun him!
Take that!
Seriously?
Take that! Feel the heat. Take that! Take it! Take that! That's it!
That was painful. Continue. So I got that one. Might as well roll back and train in the other places. Straight through here. Get myself as strong as I can be. So where did we go? So we got that center one there. That's the center one. So is it that way or up top? What the fuck? That's the unknown room. So it's literally the one straight ahead. Do a little bit of training off stream.